they left school about 6 months ago officially. And we moved to Bangalore from Chennai, and with the intention of unschooling them. And so, just generally want to kind of figure out how best to, take their interests forward and things like that, and how to kind of address their very like general things like I'm interested in technology, which can mean I don't know what. So so I mean, just generally looking for pointers on how best to take an unschooling journey forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Divya.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can start, and we can kind of have more introductions as people start sharing. So while this is supposed to be a webinar, so to me a webinar means that we all interact, right? Not just I interact. Let me see if my connection will take. Right. So good evening. I am Ratnesh, and I'm part of a community of families, um, all families who are doing open learning, different ages of children, um, right from very young, few months to few years to many years. So it's a community, and we obviously have a campus near to Bangalore, about 50, 60 kilometers from Bangalore. So children and families can come to the campus, as well as we have what you can call as an online campus, where we meet online because there are some families who are far away and they can't really come to the physical campus, right? So that's how both e-campus and the other campus, the physical campus, we call as O campus. O stands for open. Basically, it's open to everybody. Okay, so that's my introduction. My a little bit, one line, two lines about my children. I have an elder daughter who is now 22, and she's been an open learner. She hasn't given any 10, 12th or college or anything. She's whatever, she's living, enjoying her life. She's also an entrepreneur. She's running her own setup business, whatever you want to call it. So that's my daughter, and I have a younger son, 16 years now, who has never gone to a school ever. And he is into football, so he spends almost the whole week playing football. Right? So that's quick introduction of my two children, but I've worked with many children or many families, and kind of supporting, engaging, interacting with their open learning journeys. Yeah. Um, Before we go on to what we're going to do today, I like to put this slide up front just to share with everybody that there are different terms. Some people use open learning, some people use unschooling, some people call it homeschooling, free schooling, open education, home education, free education. There's so many terms. As such, the terms don't mean anything. So just don't get locked in those terms. What really matters is where you are in your. Actually, even that does not matter. Just look at it as a continuum. On one side is the very structured curriculum, school-driven, conventional education, and on the other end is the complete open learning, much like how we do, where the child drives and child chooses. And for a lot of families, the journey isn't always on one extreme. It kind of moves somewhere in between. Sometimes you have more structures, then you reduce structure, then you totally open it, then you come back to a structure, and so on. So it really depends on the child and the family, and where you are in your journey, right? So there's no one right answer. And in fact, in that sense, that is the beauty of the whole thing. If there was a fixed answer, then there is no kind of fun in the whole journey. Yeah. The second aspect that I want to talk about is that, uh, you know, typical conventional education sees or presents a scenario where you outsource your so-called education to a school or a college, and so-called that school or college is supposed to take care of it. But when you think about open learning or unschooling or whatever term you want to give it, the whole thing changes to things being done together. So the idea is to co-live together, to support each other, to co-learn. So it's not just the children who are learning, I guess the whole family, and in our case, the whole community is learning. And how do we learn, or how do we live, and how do we support is all co-created. So if you ask me that I'm in a real hurry, tell me in one line, how should I open learn or unschool or homeschool my child? I would say, oh, I don't even need a one line. I need two words, co-create. That's all. If you are short on time, please go ahead, leave the webinar and just start co-creating it with your children. Much better than me guiding you is your children and you together co-creating it. Yeah. Whatever you all want to do. So what you want to do, how you want to do, when you want to do, with whom you want to do, all has to be co-created. And that is what is the real, you can say, joy of doing open learning. So open learning isn't about just an education, it's about life. And because it's about life, it has to be lived together like co-passengers. Yeah. So that's as far as my webinar part goes, because what I want to do today is actually co-create with you. So you will have to help me rather than me trying to help you, and to co-create how we can all start, or if you have already started, how we can enlarge, enhance, expand our journey of open learning. Does that sound good to you? If it does, whatever, say something in the chat window that you are ready for it, that you would like to co-create, because it isn't just about somebody giving you a gyan. Um, yes, we all can share our perspectives, but that's exactly the point. Different perspectives, and that's how we kind of co-create our journey. Yeah. So this session is all about doing that. Right? Obviously, I'm anchoring it in some way. So what I've done is just to kind of, start the whole discussion. I have jotted down uh, 5 questions. But yeah, meanwhile, yes, please give me a yes or some acknowledgement. And from now onwards, please come on mic as in when you want to share, or you can share in chat. But just like Vishwesh has said a yes, please give me a yes that let's co-create this whole thing about open learning, how to go about it, and so on. Yeah, let me go back. Yeah, let's go create today's webinar. So please give me a confirmation, and if you're not okay with this, no, we just want you to give a lot of gyan, then I guess maybe we are in the wrong place, because open learning is all about co-creation. Yeah. Bala saying, sure. Thanks, Bala. Others, if you would like to uh, just acknowledge this thought that, okay, let's co-create, that would be nice. Yeah. Okay, few more. Thanks, Divya. Others also, please. Yeah, knowledge. Okay, so I just know that you are there. Okay. So what I've done is, as I said, I have put down the most common questions in my experience that parents ask. Uh, So the 5 questions as to why do it, what kind of learning, what kind of curriculum, what kind of skills do we need to develop. Then people ask about resources, how to get support, how to give exposure to children, what kind of places can I go, what kind of people we can connect to. Then there's a question about how do I plan the day or the week, or what kind of schedule, or what can I do, what kind of environment can I create in my house. And finally, there's also a question about what about career, what about job, do I need to give exams, boards, colleges, or can I skip those, and so on. So these are broadly the questions. I want to emphasize that if if I were to start an open learning journey, I would actually sit with my children and as a family, and if there are grandparents, pull them in. If there are relatives, pull them in. If there are neighbors, pull them in. Whoever you want to pull them in, and actually go through each of these questions, not just once, but many, many times in the rest of the journey. Right. So it's not a one-time starting exercise. I would say it is the starting, during, and kind of the ongoing exercise for our whole life. So you can even change this to say, why live? What do I need to do in my life? What resources I need in my life? What kind of schedule learning plan do I need in my life? And what kind of ways I can, let's say, vocation or earn money and live my life. So you can generalize this to life also. It isn't just about open learning. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's how I look at it. Yes. Yeah. Any thoughts at this point? Otherwise, what we can do is we can go through each of these questions, or whichever question you want to first go through, and see what all of us can contribute and co-create some of the thoughts. Yeah, so I will wait now for you. You can freely use mic, please, or use chat, whichever is comfortable to you. Do you think I've broadly covered whatever is on everybody's mind, or if there is something else, then we can add that to these questions?
Yeah, I think these are the the questions that come to the mind as well. I think whenever you think about education in general or open learning in general. So I think all these are. I think if we can get started on the answers, that'll be great. I think.
Okay. Thanks, Bala. Arshima, you want to say something?
Uh, God, wait. Oh, sorry, I unmuted by accident. No, looks great. You can carry on with the question.
Okay. So I don't know which questions would you like to take on first, but I think it's important to ask, especially if you're just starting, it's important to ask, why are we doing this? Um, See, the spark could be anything. The spark could be anything actually. It could be the child not liking the school, you not liking the school, you changing cities, or COVID, or anything actually. But we can't just hang on to the first, the spark, as I call it. Somewhere I think it's interesting if we go even more deeper. Okay, we started with this reason, but finally, where are we? So let me hear some thoughts. Why are you wanting? If you're already doing, why are you doing it, or why are you wanting to do it? So Divya, you said you started 6 months back. You can share. So many people are there. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first again, since no one else is, they may be thinking. Thought is one. Okay, just to put a disclaimer, I haven't done anything like this before, right? So, me and my wife and the kids, the elder one went through the traditional schooling system, and, she's already passed that, at least the initial part of the 12 years. But the younger one is, like I said, we've gone through a couple of different iterations of this, but frankly, we haven't thought fully on what open learning may mean or what unschooling may mean. But what we did find, though, is that the traditional system of schooling, the curriculum-based learning, and a same yardstick for every child kind of a process, often does not help the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we've learned over the last many years, and so that's one reason we thought maybe while younger one is still in that system, can we help her to do to help her learn differently and not be in a system where the system expects every child to perform at a certain level, to know certain things and grade them,
Sure.
and things like that, which is sometimes intimidates the child. Sometimes it may be encouraging the child. Sometimes it may be not very good for the child, right? So that's the reason we thought maybe it's worth time to look at another option, alternate options, and see how that experience has been for others who've been through these journeys, right? So that's the that's I think one of the reasons why open learning, I think, is important. From a child perspective, the systems can be too rigid, right?
Okay.
That's
So I put that down as
to keep.
customized learning as compared to system that is too rigid. Is that fair enough in terms of the wordings?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think Roshni is also saying something very similar, customized to suit our learning needs and also to widen exposure. Okay, that's an interesting point. Vishwesh is saying his daughter is 2-year-old. So should I put it, Vishwesh, this way, that she's actually naturally a learner, naturally an open learner, right? At 2 years, they are such fierce open learners. They don't care about what you say, whatever they want to learn, they just go ahead and learn that, isn't it? So shall we just put it that's the reason, because that's the most natural way of doing it. Yeah. In fact, I often say that the conventional education should be called as an alternate education. It's an alternate which was created just about 150 years back, right? Otherwise, the most natural form of learning, which has been there for whatever, thousands of years, I would say, is the open learning, where the child decides and the village supports kind of thing, or the community supports. So it should be the other way around. Right. More thoughts? Why would you like to do?
Hi.
Yeah,
Am I
Anaga.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Suprita. Anaga is my
Suprita.
daughter's name.
Okay, okay. Suprita. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, my daughter is 8 years old now. She is 8+, and from last, from second class we have started homeschooling basically. Now we are in the path of unschooling and homeschooling midway. The basic thing is there is no practical education now. See, there is no relation between what we are learning and what we are going to earn. Like, there's no relation. So basically, that was the thing. Incidentally, my friends, they have done chemical engineering from Bitspilani, and they have ended, like, after engineering, they have dropped that and they learned some computer courses, and they have started software engineer as a software engineer. So what's the point in learning chemical engineering?
Absolutely.
That's happening with almost all.
Right.
So there is no practical education. And one more thing is, my grandmother, she's 97, and we are Telugites.
Okay.
So we have some Shatakam, that is like 100 poems written by one person. So there are n number of 5-6 such kind of Shatakas are there in Telugu. And she didn't go to school, but she has everything. Till now, she remembers all the poems, almost all the poems. So even they had 24 hours and we have 24 hours, and our kids are also having 24 hours, but the knowledge is being deteriorated because of the time.
Right.
From morning 6, they get engaged till evening 4.
Yes.
So the major part of the day is going with, like, somehow they are just time is getting passed. So the knowledge, I just thought of that. That was the point. We just thought, let's see. We started actually as an experiment.
Yeah. Sorry, can I get your name again? I kind of forgot your name.
Yeah, my name is Suprita.
Suprita. If you can rename also, that would be nice in the Zoom, so that others can also. Suprita.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Roshni is also talking about why rote learn from a common curriculum. Yeah, so that's part of the customized thing. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Any other thought? Because I think this is important that we kind of not just the reason to jump in could be one, but we finally start understanding all the let's not just call it benefits, but all the aspects of open learning. And these are all interesting aspects that it gives us time. We can connect it to life. We can keep it natural because that's how we are designed to. And then it gives us opportunity to widen the exposure and obviously to customize it to our interest. Any other thought anybody else would like to add? There's a lot of people here other than me, 18 people. So please go ahead, share if you have something to add to this list.
Hello. Hi, this is Arshima. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashima. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I think my reasons come from a lot of what I've seen go wrong with schooling. So I was actually, I didn't study fully in India, I was abroad. But even there, I found that the children are just treated as sort of empty vessels where we are, there are sort of impersonal ways in which the teacher is imparting information. And that is what we learned to be able to score in exams or to progress in a particular field. But why we're learning and who is teaching us and how that transforms us as human beings, that was not a focus. So I feel my priority is to teach my children or to learn with my children in a way that we develop a relationship and we understand what knowledge is for and what life is for and what we're actually doing on earth in a way.
Okay.
We were going through a journey where we have been given certain abilities, so we should make the most of that in a particular direction. So, I mean, for me, that direction is for my family. It's about making a difference in the world and making having a certain vision in mind. So that you don't get from school. It's very disembodied and unemotional. So.
Okay, so I've tried to capture it by saying to learn in a way that we develop a relationship between ourselves and knowledge and life and world around us. It kind of captures what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the emotions involved and the relationships.
Yeah. Right. So Kishore is also pointing out that in conventional education, there is this whole thing about slow learner, fast learner. So there is some kind of a grading of learners. While in real life, we are all just very unique. I am assuming Kishore is pointing towards that. So why push children into an area where they can be branded or labeled as Kishore, can I put it as free to be themselves? They don't have to live up to any criteria which somebody else thinks is the right criteria to be called as fast learner or slow learner or whatever. Okay. Does that resonate with you? You know, because you're bringing up the aspects of their self-esteem and confidence. So if I'm just allowed to be myself, so let me change it to myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think all of these are kind of very closely connected to each other and somewhat, as many of you pointed out, even missing somewhere. The way I would like to, sorry, somebody else wants to share. Yes, Jayashree. Is somebody wanting to speak? Okay, so I'm also putting it pressure free.
Hello.
Yes, Jayashree, we can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, I want to ask that if I didn't start yet, but if I have start unschooling, what a child will do whole day?
Yeah, we'll come to that. So
I mean to say,
yeah. So
I mean to say, mother have to look at the child. Then how much pressure will create on mother's side?
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in just a little while. That is part of the questions that we are taking up.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll do that. Just one
Okay,
moment.
okay.
Sorry. So this is wonderful. I just want to share that our way of looking at it is that uh, 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 see, children are born leaders, meaning Vishwas sharing his 2-year-old daughter. I'm saying anybody who has seen a 1-year or 2-year-old children, we know how fierce leaders they are of themselves. They're not leaders to others. They're just leaders of themselves. They want to know what they know what they want to learn or do and all that. And somewhere we rob them of their leadership by saying, no, you wait. You don't know what to learn, how to learn, when to learn, whom to learn, and so on. I will give you marks. I will tell you how. And then we say, now for the next 20 years, don't lead yourself. And then after that, you can lead your life. So we think open learning, what it does is it gives I would say we have no right to take it away from them. So it allows them to lead their life. And yes, there will be ups and downs, and that is what life is all about. But when they are the leaders of themselves, they are living their lives. I wouldn't even say they are learning how to live. We are always learning how to live our life all throughout our life, but they are living their life by leading themselves. And that I would say is my reason. I would say I would like children to be open learners so that they are in charge of their life, not me or anybody else in charge of their life. Okay. Just give me one moment. I'm just changing my internet. So if I get logged out, just be patient. And if I don't get logged out, then that's even better. Okay, can you hear me? I don't think I got logged out. Just confirm, please. I just changed the internet connection here.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Cool. Okay, so this worked. Thank you. Okay. I'm just thanking my daughter who was helping me out with the Wi-Fi part. Okay, and thank you for you being patient today with my internet connection. Yes, so yeah. I think what Kishore and Roshni are saying is just underlining that we don't have to, push them into things which they don't want to do. So that's our thought. Let's move to the next question, which is a very interesting question. So what do you think should the child learn, or for that matter, anybody learn? It is not just the child, but anybody. So let's assume here that all of us are open learners, because at this stage, I think at least as adults, you're not going to any school or college. So in that sense, you are an open learner. You are deciding what you want to learn. And the child is also, let's say, an open learner. So in open learning, one of the question is, hey, what should the child learn? Should the child follow the syllabus of the school, or should the child do something else? So what do you think? Who should decide? What should be decided? How do we decide that? That is the question that we're talking about. What is the skills we should develop, or the child could develop, and so on?
Hi, this is just a thought. In a way, it's a question, but I haven't started homeschooling yet because my daughter is still very young. But my thinking is
please
that
don't say that they start at 0 years. They're open
I
learning.
know. Yeah, I know. I mean the more conventional aspect of it. But so my thinking is that in order to be able to choose what to learn, children would need to know what choices they have, right? So they need a certain element of exposure to a variety of topics or ideas, or even phenomena in the natural world, whatever it might be. But they do. So in a way, it has to be an iterative process. That's my feeling, that you would need to expose them to a certain number of things. Have conversations about those things, and then let them explore what they interest them, and then go back to maybe widening their exposure, then again go deeper into one or two things that might interest them. Is that how open learning works, or is it
Absolutely,
more
yeah. That is a
fluid?
beautiful way to put it. Thank you, Ashima. So I like this whole thing about, yeah, the iterative process of it, which means it's a process. It's not like here you are, this is the curriculum, now you go and done this. So you are saying you expose, then they select, or you called it as discuss, and then they select, then they do, meanwhile expose more, right? Is that what you were saying? And then
Yes.
again
So in
select
that
more.
process, you actually as a parent have to do a lot of thinking and maybe choosing at certain points in time as to what the child is being exposed to, right?
Mm, I would say not really. I will relieve you from that burden. uh, Not really. You don't really need to. It's already an overexposed world. They have so much media. They have so many people around them. They are seeing so much of the world. If you go back 200 years, maybe yes, the world was limited to my village. Maybe 50 years back also it was limited to maybe what I'm hearing on radio or newspaper. But in today's world, man, you have skills, you have videos on YouTube of every little thing that you can think of,
Right.
right? There is absolutely no limit. The other day, my mosquito killing racket, I have this bat kind of a thing, was not working, and I just Googled up, and there are some 2,000 videos of how you can repair that bat. So I said, oh my goodness. All right. So I'm exposed to something new. I had never thought that I'll repair those. Now I'm thinking of repairing those. So you see, the exposure is not limited by somebody. I don't have my dad or mom around to expose me at this age, but still have YouTube as my dadaji to expose me.
Sure.
So
But then,
yeah,
sorry, it's a question. But
yeah.
if it's then left to the child to explore on the media, internet, or even through society, then isn't it the dominant themes and ideas, technologies, which would then gain a lot more attention, rather than perhaps if you wanted to help the child explore or explore with the child things that might have been there in history which are not so visible or might be there in
Yes,
certain
yes.
parts of
So,
the
so we are
world.
not trying to say that you leave them alone, not that, but I'm saying just don't sense it as a burden on you. Oh, it's now my responsibility. No, 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 no. Let's go back to the definition where we started with. The one key word is co-create. So as much as it is, let's say, your role, as much as it is the child's role, and as much it is the sibling role or whoever else is part of your family or group or community. Do I make sense? So yes, you're very
Yeah.
right. It has to be co-created, but it is not your responsibility. Don't look at it as a burden. In fact, I would look at it as a joy.
Yeah.
Right. And which is why I would say open learners travel a lot, meet a lot of people, and so on, because then they can get a lot of exposure, and you have all the time to travel and go and meet people and do the kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like an adventure of the
Absolutely.
mind, of books, of places.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People.
Yeah, more thoughts from more people. What do you think? Do you worry about, hey, is my child learning X or is my child learning Y? Should I have a curriculum? There are people who call me up and say, how do I decide what the child should learn and so on? So do you have those kind of thoughts, and how do you look at it? Waiting for your responses. So Ashima has put it very, very beautifully for us to start off. Yeah, Suprita is also saying she's seconding Ashima's thought. Yep, anybody?
Yeah, so I think, what Ashima said, I think makes a lot of sense. Just a couple of thoughts here. One is this notion of basic life skills, right? In terms of communication, in terms of interacting with people, etc. I don't know whether those the life skills become sort of a foundational thing that, is something that we have pick it up themselves, but that's something that one thought I had. And second is, while there's a lot of exposure, a lot of information available out there, and they're constantly exposed to 100 different things every day, is there a way to distill that? Is there a need, rather, not a way, is there a need to distill that down to some essential, knowledge, and then you build on it, right? So there is a foundation, maybe counting, or maybe, adding, addition or subtraction or whatever, some stuff which sort of becomes sort of the foundation, and then start the process of the iteration, right? Expose them to more, if you like addition, more, add more, don't subtract or whatever, right? But the point is there a sort of a foundational thing that helps them to get their footing right, and then let them be on their own in terms of, figuring out what they want to go deeper into, etc., etc. Just a couple of thoughts.
Yeah. So first of all, I think this is a notion which is sold by the conventional education, that we will build your foundation, right? And right foundation. Now, what is this right foundation? I think there is no one answer. So let's do away with this word called right foundation. Or maybe if you allow, maybe even do away with the word foundation. It isn't about that you lay one foundation and then you build something on it. We aren't building a static house. We are living a dynamic life where processes will keep happening. So I would say it's iterative from the day the child is born. If your child is born in a village, let's say, or in an open house where there is mud and there are trees and birds, then that's what the child will be exposed to. If the child is born in an urban space where there is more, let's say, buildings and apartments and lifts, then that is what the child would be exposed to. If your child is born in a family which listens to a lot of music, then music will become an automatic exposure. Now, is that a foundation? I say, why not? Why can't that be the first layer? Because we are not a static building where you need to first have a solid foundation and then create an architecture on top of it. I think as human beings, we are constantly evolving. So it's not just one layer on top of another layer. It's like a network of zillions and zillions of neurons which are constantly connecting with each other. Enough brain research is there for us to certify this view that our brain is not one layer by layer, but it's like millions of neurons. So I hope you are with me on that part of the science, that which says that, so we don't really need to, the child will automatically, as you said, counting, that obviously the child isn't going to pick up, 3 candies and say, I'm going to do algebra with that. Obviously, the child will count them first, how many candies I have, and the children learn that very, very, very naturally. So I'm not so sure if we need to get stuck with that. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't do anything. What I'm trying to say is, if we remove the word foundation, remove the word right foundation, and then we co-create with our children. Hey, what is it that is attracting you? Yeah, yes, absolutely. As Roshni is saying, play and activities, they will automatically unfold all kinds of skills, social skills, self skills, emotional skills, mathematical skills, bodily skills, and so on. That is why the fights are important. That is why conflicts are important. That is why everything is important. Shopping is important. Travel is important. All of these so-called life will give us the life skills. Why do we need to put them in a can and then say, open the can and gobble up all the, so-called life skills? I think just let's live life. The life will continue to dish out challenges, problems, and so on, or situations, and that should itself kind of help us develop what we need to. And at any stage, if I think, let's say as a child or even as a parent, that something is required, we can all again co-create and discuss, hey, is this required? If somebody says, yeah, is this required, let's do that. So there is no, again, a limit to what we can do at any age. Suprita is saying, oh, yes. If your daughter is around, please, Suprita, she can come on mic and share. Manjari is also raising hand. Manjari, don't raise hand. Just come on mic and shut me up and you share.
Hello. So, hi. Well, I feel here the classic example is the son of a vegetable seller who knows all about fractions, all about plus, subtraction, addition, and all such mathematical complicated sums he can do in his head mentally, even though he's
Absolutely.
not gone to school.
Or by now he has figured out how to use a calculator on his dad's smartphone, which his dad has somehow purchased.
Hello all.
Yes, please.
This is Anagha Vidu.
Hi, Anaga.
Hi, uncle. I do not want to read, but I want to roam all around the world and I want to learn.
Super, super. And if possible, take me with you. I also want to roam the world.
Sure.
Thank you. In fact, for you, just for you, my next slide just goes for you. See, I made a world map, Anaga, because I somehow knew that Anaga is coming. So there you go, Anaga. This whole world is yours. This whole world is yours. Please roam around into whatever aspect of this world you want to touch.
And I'm seeing a India flag behind you.
Oh, really? Well, I have
That's
not designed
right.
us. That's very, very interesting. I didn't realize that the colors form an India flag. That's so amazing. I didn't realize it was just 3 curtains that I had kind of thrown together. That is very, very observant of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, uncle.
Right. So yeah, let's get back to our slide and more thoughts. Thank you, Anaga. That was beautiful. Let me put it there. I want to roam the world. And I think exactly that is what the open learning is. I think nobody can better define it as Anaga has defined it. Why shouldn't life be like that? I should roam the world that I want to roam. Exactly, Anaga. Let's learn from you. And exactly do that. That's what life should be. Why should I go to the place which others are telling me? Why can't I roam where I want to roam? Right? More thoughts. If there's any thought left after what Anaga has shared on this. So I just want to reinforce.
Hi,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Anaga.
can you hear me? This is Agalya.
Yes, Agalya, please. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm a research scholar.
Mm-hmm.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a research scholar. Even now, I feel like I have to roam around the world and learn things.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And please continue being a research scholar all of
that's
your
what.
life.
Yes, I would love to. Yeah, I hope that I would.
Yes, that's what life is all about. It's about enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I wanted to share. It's
Sure.
nice listening to all the parents out there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So I'm once again clarifying when when I responded to the basic life skills. Yes, so you can sit with your child not just once, but at different point of times and see what skills. Okay, if I remove life from there, what skills you want to develop, as in the child and the parents. So we all can co-create that list. It could be one thing in that list, 10 things in that list, or nothing in the list. So it's really up to us to co-create that rather than somebody else telling that this is more important and that is more important. And I also want to reinforce that any skill can be learned at any age. To say that this has to be learned in the early years of my life is, I think, unnecessary trying to say that life has to be lived in one linear fashion. So, You can learn anything at any point of time. There is nothing to stop you from. So there doesn't need to be a linearity to it. Unless a child or a learner wants us to do A before moving on to B and then to C. But that's that person's choice. Yeah, what do you think? And what else you want to share about this particular question? What should be the learning? Okay, so I take the silence as everybody is with Anaga, ready to roam the world and thinking of world as our, you can say, a space which I can explore and learn what I want to learn, right? Okay, so I am moving on to the next question, but obviously, is there anything related to the previous one you can always come up with? The next, okay, Kishore, you are talking about more about exams and certificates. That's my fifth question. So if you can just wait till there, if that is okay, then we can come to this. Yeah. So the third question is, hey, what resources, people, support, exposure, places, activities? Somebody was asking about activities. How do I start? So what are your thoughts about all of this? What kind of activities, what kind of resources? Because one assumes that when one is going to school, I'm again saying it's an assumption that they will provide all the resources and people and support and exposure. Is this now a burden, or is this like a whole choice set opened up? So what are your thoughts? Some of you have been doing open learning. What has been your experience? Or if you have a question about these. Okay, I guess I'll also say something.
Hello.
Oh, wait, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Jayashree.
Yes, I want to know how to handle atmosphere around you. I mean to say other people's and all.
You have to be a little more specific. When you say other people.
Other people means your relatives and your friend circle, other people.
Yeah. So what do you need to handle? That is something that.
How to ask them? She's not learning in the school, and yeah, in my city, there is a. I have researched a lot, but there is no unschooler or one or two. So it's I am just not sure how to handle someone asks she's not going to school.
Oh, okay. So you are talking about, are you talking about how do I find more unschoolers, or are you talking about how do I answer?
I have researched a lot around me, but I didn't find many.
How many people live in your city?
I don't know. It's a small city.
Approximately?
I don't know.
1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakhs, 50,000. How many people you think live in your city?
About 5 lakh.
About 5 lakhs. Then please let me tell you that there are 5 lakh open learners.
Okay.
Just consider everybody around you to be an open learner. Whatever they define themselves, who cares? For me, everybody is somebody I can connect with. I can connect with the grocery store down my street. I can connect to the uncle or the auntie who lives in the neighboring house. I can go to a factory and ask them, hey, can I learn from you? How do you make whatever ice creams? And so on. Isn't everybody out there an open learner? You don't think that they go to school or college. Why do you need to go?
I am convinced about it, but how to convince others?
Why do you need to convince others? So that's my question to you. Why do you need to convince? Let them think what they think. Let them have their own doubts. That is good. Good that they are asking you question.
Okay.
Good that they are asking you, why are you not sending to school? Good. You don't need to convince them. But when you talk to them, that gives you more clarity.
Okay.
And if you ever feel like that, oh, I wish I could talk to more open learners. First of all, as I said, everybody is an open learner. Dwiji is, I think, in the chat saying the same thing. As well as, see, there is a community already there. We are all there. You can connect with us. So what if you are not in your city? But we are very close to you. We are just a phone call away. That's even close. If your phone is 2 feet away from you, that's how close we are to you.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
just saying, just let's not think in that fashion that people are questioning me, or there are no more unschoolers in my city, in my country, in my world. Don't worry about all that. Let me tell you, everybody who is beyond college is an open learner, just like everybody in this call. Jayashri, Agalya, Ambili, Amrit, Divya, Arshima, everybody is an open learner. Why? Because they're not going to school or college. They're learning what they want to learn. So there you go. You can connect with all of them.
Okay.
Right. That
I have get my answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Dwiji, you wanted to share something.
Yeah, no, there was too much of a silence, so I thought finally, चलो मैं ही बात कर देता हूँ थोड़ा. Yeah, just that when it comes to resources, it's that what you said, that everything and everyone is a learning resource because it's something new. It's about how we look at it and the art of picking up what we are looking to pick up. So, yeah, I mean, how did a child learn cycling? They didn't go to a course, or walking for that matter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or talking. Um, all the things that really help us connect with people are things that we do not learn in a course.
yeah,
It's something that we learn because we are. So living is learning. So just the fact that you are able to live in a neighborhood, in a community, in a family, um, yeah, I mean, invariably you're learning. So the idea is to then ask the question, okay, how do I take this into a more quote unquote structured or a, communicatable fashion, make it into how do I present this as a learning, how do I share this learning, and how do I communicate what I have learned.
yeah.
Yeah.
And which is where Jayashri, just for you, so which is where what we are trying to do, or not trying to do, what we have been doing rather for the last 12 years since 2008, is we've created a community of families who are doing open learning so that they can connect with each other irrespective of where they are, right? While we are and so there are in our community, there are families from all different cities, small cities, big cities in India, Dubai, so on. So there are families from different places, and we all connect, share with each other, learn with each other,
I
fight
have
with.
connected with families from Pune. I have researching from somehow 5 to 6 years, but I don't have courage yet to start. So I am finding here and there. So
Sure. If you hope this this not just this webinar, but we as a group which is present here, as well as our community, can support you as and when you are ready to start. So there is no hurry. You
okay.
take your time. Whenever you are
So
ready, just remember we are all there.
okay. How can I get your number?
Oh, my number is all there. You can drop into our website. Let me just type, since you've asked for it. This is my number. You can also, how old is your child?
9 years.
Okay, okay. You can also, Dwiji, would you like to type out your number, because your daughter is same age, so maybe they can connect with you and your daughters. So Dwiji's daughter Ibni is, I think, 10 now, right? So you can connect with Dwiji. Who else is there? Roshni is there. Roshni, you. So there are so many parents who are already part of. Ambali is there. Right. So there's already so many parents. So Hardik is also there. Super. Right. Who are already part of our community, and you can connect with any of them. Right. Or if you connect with
Okay.
me, I can give you number of all of them. Literally all
Okay.
will be ready to help you.
Okay, thank
We
you.
have around 40-50 members in our community. And Roshni is saying, why don't you join our community? That's another simple way
Yeah,
of
I
doing
will
it.
like to. I will like
Yes,
to.
it's very, very simple to join our community. There is no formality. There's just a little bit of that you need to get to know how the community works. And so I will just, right, I've given the link. You can go there and see how you can join, and you can connect with us, and I will help you out. Okay. Let me, so the way we look at it, I tell this to every child, more than families. I tell this to every child that, dear, so this is of what Anika was also saying, that you are the center of the universe, and the whole universe is there for you. Learn, connect, grow, ask support, get resources from the whole world. Right, there is no dearth. Yesterday there was a presentation by a father of one of our community member. He breeds racing horses, so that's his profession and passion. And when asked, how did you learn it? He said, nothing. I went to different people who do that, and they mentored me, they guided me. So even if you take up something as specialized as breeding racing horses, there are people to guide and mentor you. That is the beauty of this world. We just need to ask, and people are there to support and help us. And that is what I want to tell every child. No matter what you want to do, you want to do technology, you want to do biology, you want to do embroidery, you want to get into history, you want to do football. No matter what you want to do, there is somebody or the other, rather so many people who are ready to help you. And one of the ways in which people are helping you is already by putting up articles, websites, YouTube videos, apps, doing online courses, and so on. So there is no dearth of resources uh, or no dearth of people to guide you, right? That's how at least we have looked at the world, and the world has responded amazingly. Right, so let's move to the next question. What kind of schedule, what kind of learning plan, what kind of environment? Right, so Suprita is mentioning preparing curriculum open to the child's interest. Absolutely. So so not just the curriculum, but you can also create a schedule, a learning plan, and an environment which is based on the child's and the family's interest, isn't it? So your thought, Suprita, is also suitable for this question. Why not base it on the whole thing can be based on the family needs or the family styles, if I may say. I'm using the word family because it doesn't need to be only related to the child, as much as the parents are equally important. Yeah, but let me pause for your thoughts. Any questions about how do I set up a schedule? How do I set up a learning plan?
I had a question about the family needs.
Yeah.
So because every family has certain areas of maybe interest and maybe other things they're not so interested in. As a parent who, if you want to, we all want to give our child the best of experiences. So one feels that, I feel at least that I'm not being fair by limiting the child to whatever I have awareness of. So I feel like I really have to go beyond my comfort zone to expose her to other things which I may not know or my husband may not know. So like, for example, you mentioned music. So supposing I have knowledge of one instrument, but then I want to give her a range of instruments to experience, and I have to really seek out others to teach those as well and give her that choice, right? So how do you feel okay with maybe not being able to be completely fair in giving equal attention to all topics?
Yeah, but why do you want to look at it as fair and unfair? Because there are about a zillion topics in this world. How can you even expose anybody, including yourself, to all the zillion things? It's just not possible. Right. You take music only. There are so many genres of music, even genres that me and you have not even heard ever in our life. So I would
Yeah.
say it will be fair to yourself if you stop thinking about fair and unfair and just go by being more intuitive, more spontaneous based on what you are getting exposed to. Right. And invariably, they see the child is born in your home, in your family. And to that extent,
Sorry, I can't hear you.
yeah, Samir. I'm saying, look at it this way, that the child is born in your family. And to that extent, the child will be exposed to whatever is around you, right? Whatever is around the child, in the sense that whatever interest mother, father, neighbors, relatives have. But that's how it is, right? If you're born in south of India, you would possibly be eating idli from day one. But if you're born in, let's say, Kashmir, you will be eating something else, a rajma chawal maybe. So it really depends on, and that doesn't mean that, if I'm in Kashmir, I would say, I'm not exposing my child to idli. No. That's okay. Where the child is born, that's how it is, right? That way, the child should be, kind of be everywhere, which is not practical. And so let's not worry about that. I think let it take its own natural flow.
So I guess one fear I have is that because I'm starting out on this journey and I'm not completely confident of my capabilities or our capabilities as a family, and one wonders, by sending the child to a good school or alternative school with some kind of alternative philosophy, they would have a wider range of exposure to other things that I can't give or we can't give. So that fear is always there at the back of the mind, that are we disadvantaging our child?
Well, you can say it the other way around also. You could be disadvantaging by sending a child to a system, because then the child will invariably get exposed to whatever that system decides to expose the child to.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think this is of a lesser or more disadvantage? Who is to analyze that? Who can predict that? Uh, and what quantity of exposure is sufficient exposure? Which so-called good school will provide that sufficient? When is that sufficient? So I would personally again say we don't need to put our status or situation or way of looking at it below what a school or an institution can do. No. I am not in. Personally, I don't see it that way.
Can I put it in a slightly different way, Ratnesh?
Please, Dwiji. Yes.
Yeah. So, Ashima, who knows your child best? If you can.
Yeah, that's true. We do as parents.
Well, I mean, our hope is that the child knows himself or herself best.
Yeah.
And then the next would be us parents around the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much time do we get to spend with them as they are growing when they are open learning, versus how much time do we get to spend with them when they are in a structured school learning or the conventional education, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the idea here is as much about how much are we open to open learning. It's not really about the child being open to open learning. The child, like we have been talking all this while, is naturally an open learner. It's about how much are we ready. So your question is very, very important, and please don't feel it's a stupid question or a silly question. No, it is not. It's a very important question as to how do we change our mindset. So I'm just turning the question a little bit from what you asked to a way I approach this, which I thought might be useful. That is one aspect. The other aspect is that when we look at uh, our own lives, right, or those of your uncles and aunts, if you have spent half an hour with any elder in your family, one of the things that they will keep coming back to is cursing their parents for the choices they made, right? um, Sometimes it's also fond memories, but I'm pretty sure there is regret, there is curses, there is all emotions involved in interactions between every generation with its parents. So will I ever be able to do something that my child will always be happy? Well, historically or evidence tells me that no, that is not possible. Invariably, the next generation will feel, oh, something else could have been done. So, who are we trying to please? Is my thing that let's live life today rather than to for a better or a ideal 1 year from now or 50 years from now. I just feel that when we look at, am I doing well enough, the best judge for that is yourself. In the situation that you are today, what is the best you can do for your child, right? Rather than saying, oh, as a mother, I have to do, wake up at 5 o'clock, make breakfast for everyone, then make sure I pack everybody's lunch before I have to go for work at 8 o'clock, right? So that is a decision that is best made by you rather than having that imposed by a system.
Yeah, that's
That's
true. Thank you.
the way I see it.
And to underline what Dwiji is saying, one of the things that we say is that open learning has this beautiful aspect of reflection. So when you live in the moment, you do decide to, let's say, do something, exposed to something, then you do that as a family or as the child does. But the important component is then you go back and reflect. So it's not something that you will review that decision 5 years later. No, you review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, because you continuously reflect, why am I doing this? How else can I do this? What else do I want to do? How much I want to do? What resources I want to use, and so on. So this reflect is such an important component in open learning, which if you really see in a conventional education, this is totally missing, because the path is already laid out. There is nothing to reflect. Just keep walking the path in terms of what the school is specifying. I'm not trying to say that is wrong or right. All I'm saying is here, it is so beautiful that as a family, we keep reviewing, we keep thinking, we keep, keep kind of moving around this whole thing about how are we doing, when we are doing, and so on. Yeah. So just wanted to kind of underline uh, this. Okay, so let's move ahead. Kishore is meanwhile talking about this perception of social skills. Yeah, Dwiji is also mentioning the time is, we've been going easy and slow today. I hope you don't have a runaway time decided, so you can spend some more time on this. Yes, Kishore, I think we can take that question, or if you wanted, just after the exam question, I have lined up that question also. Because I know that question would also come. So yeah, we can, let's spend little time. Just let me take this question before that. So people commonly ask, okay, so what about exams, board, college, career plans, certificates, jobs? What about that? What about that in open learning? Yeah, so let me hear your thoughts. I hope you're okay with these kind of pace that we have of this webinar. And while we had actually said 5 to 6, I see it going a little more time, and I hope you're okay with hanging around and talking about this. If you are not, as Dwiji is saying, you can always connect to us one-to-one, and we'll be more than happy to guide you to whatever extent we can guide you. But let's come back to this question. What do you think about it? How do you look at your own child's journey and your journey, and thinking about all of this?
Well, I think this is a sort of a double-edged sword, I think. At least that's what I feel. One is that the world around us is so rigid and so regimented that I think some of these may become necessary. Necessity rather. For you to, for the child as they grow up, to get a job or to get into any kind of a career or whatever. there may be prerequisites, and that system is where even though you may be open and willing to learn at your own pace and set your own agenda, etc., the world around may impose some restrictions, I feel. So this is an important question. I think I would like to hear everybody's thoughts about it, and what the experienced people in this group, what they feel about it.
So one of the things I would say is that fortunately the world is, as of today's date, is no more rigid about it. That's the good news. Barring very few professions, which you can literally count on your finger, things like doctor and things like maybe lawyer, and there are hardly few professions which require you to have a certificate by law. Otherwise, I would say almost 95 to 97% of the, even I would say jobs or the occupations or are open to people who can show that I am good at it, rather than who have to show a certificate. So the world is no more rigid. The world has opened up. Even large organizations like Google have clearly announced you do not need to have a certificate from a college. They've gone up and announced that, right? So the world is rapidly changing in this domain. Already it has changed, I would say. So the good news is that this is no more a rigid thing, except for, let's say, a certain government requirements of, government jobs may require a certain qualification, and certain professions by law require a degree.
Hello.
Yeah, Suprita.
Hi, Ratnesh. I just wanted to put some views. Basically, I have experienced one incident in my life wherein one of my friends' relative, he was a degree student, and he had they were very poor. I have seen them. But along with degree, he has learned foreign languages, Spanish, Germany, and it was from a government institution he could manage to learn. And now he is in Germany earning more than any, and her sister is a gold medalist in psychology, but she's not since they are in Germany, she's not earning anything as such, but he's earning a lot. That's where my confidence has boosted to go ahead with unlearning or open learning. Only thing, my thing is how should I put in that skills in my daughter, so that she can earn by herself, living her own life, and she can earn for her living. With this instant, I just wanted to put thought, wanted to. So
right.
So there is no thing. There is no relation. If you want to learn and if you want to have a career, you should learn this much or something.
Yeah.
It may not be this CBSE or ICSE or that kind of degrees. There could be a lot of simple certificate courses which are available in India or throughout the world. Probably can we tap them?
Yeah, it is possible. I would say don't look at the certificate. Finally, at the end of the day, people don't want to recruit people with certificate. People want people with skills. People want people with domain knowledge. So what really is important is the domain knowledge, is the understanding, is the skill. And sometimes these skills can be better acquired, not by passing a course, but by actually, let's say, interning or being an apprentice with somebody, actually working with somebody, getting that important experience of a particular domain.
So currently, it's a very rigid system.
No. Wait, Kishore. Why do you say it is a rigid system?
No. What I'm trying to say.
I would say it is not at all a rigid system.
If it was not, then probably everybody would have been doing an open learning, isn't it? So whatever may be the thing, what I'm trying to say
Interesting. Yeah. So you are saying if it is not, the system is not rigid. We are looking at it rigidly. Yeah, we are assuming that everybody has to, for example, everybody has to give 10th, 12th and college, only then they can earn in their life. That's an assumption. Isn't that an assumption?
what I'm trying to say is like as we do the open learning, it's possible to have some kind of certification systems like which probably like will decide whether to go for a certification or not at some point in time.
Sure, you can do that. Absolutely. So there is while doing open learning, you can get certificates. You can get 10th and 12th and even college and degrees and whatever. But I want to invite you. Let's not worry about why people are not doing it. People are doing a lot of things and I don't know why they are doing it, right? And I can give you hundreds of examples of why people are doing something and it baffles me why they are doing it. But the point is not what people are doing. The point is, how do I look at myself and how do I look at the world? And interestingly, when you start looking at the world isn't asking for a degree. The world is asking for, what do you know about this area which you want to approach me about? Right?
Probably that is the
Today,
thing what we are not aware. Like if the world is not asking for the degree, probably we should be knowing it. Like probably you just took an example of Google, right?
right?
So the Google is MNC, and it's not like there are many hundreds of other companies in India and in these third world countries. Probably they would be looking for some kind of degree at least till 10th.
Not at all. Let me give you an example of a child. His name is Nihar. He is about 16 years and he's already working with two companies as a software person, already working and earning, right? And he has obviously not given any 10th, 12th or college. He's already earning because he likes this. He likes coding, he likes programming, and he has already gone to that extent that he's already working. In fact, he is the one who has designed the official app of BMTC, which is the Bangalore Road Transport.
Okay.
Right. What I'm giving you actual concrete example. Why I want to give you example is not just in IT industry. You look at any industry except for very, very few, which I said you can count those professions in your hand. Actually speaking, people are not today. Let's say in any industry, let's say you are into fashion or you are into running a hotel or you are into anything. If you have candidates in front of you, or all have degrees, but one has no degree, but has a lot of practical experience that he can show to you or she can show to you. Whom would you take? Who has the practical skills or who has some degrees?
Yeah, obviously practical skills. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what open learning gives is that if you are not running behind degrees, then you have all that time to get the skills that you need for that particular industry, whichever industry the child is interested in.
For example, let us think the child is interested in cooking.
Yes.
Right? How do you think that, how can we facilitate her, or like, how do you think we should be going about?
Okay, so there is, first of all, there is no one answer, but let us say if the child is interested in cooking, I would say that's so amazing because the child can, number one, travel, go to different places, work with different, let's say, cooks or chefs, even grandmas, go to different restaurants, intern with them. So let's say somebody takes let's say 2 years to do 10th and 12th, 4 years to do graduation, and maybe 2 years to do master's. So that's all, what about 7 or 8 years. But if for 7 or 8 years, imagine this child is traveling or going to different places or even at home, trying out lots of different dishes, learning about different things, reading about different spices, uh, and working with different, let's say, interning with different restaurants, bakeries, uh, and so on. What do you think the child will learn in 6 years? Will it be more than or less than in terms of the domain of becoming a chef as compared to somebody who did 10th, 12th, did a graduation course and then did the hotel management course?
Agreed. Yeah.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. There are few professions where you can't do this. You can't do become a doctor like this, but you can definitely become a chef like this, and thousands of other professions. Right, which is where I think somebody was giving an example that we did degrees in this, but now we are no more using those degrees. We are doing totally something else. So what is the even point of doing a degree if I'm not going to do a job in that domain? So the degrees are in that sense useless, because those are not the ones which are giving me job.
Right.
I'm not against degrees. Please don't take me like that. I'm just trying to emphasize that, first of all, the world is not rigid. Two, as Vijay has also pointed out, that if you still want to appear, if you still want to collect degrees, there is a little track that is available to you. That you can do through NIOS, you can do through other, there are other options also, like IGCSE and so on. You can get degrees, you can do as a private candidate, you can do online courses and get certificates. That is if you need it. So even an open learner, if at any point feels that I need some degrees, like one of our Aarohi child, he wants to become a pilot. So he realizes that to become a pilot, he has to give 10th and 12th in India. That's a rule. So he's giving 10th and 12th through NIOS. He's actually already done 10th. Now he will do 12th next year. So it's very much possible for a child to get into that and collect a certain specific certificate. But I would say, if your child is not yet 15 or 16, let's not worry about it, or not yet 13, 14, 15. Around that age is when you need to start thinking about it. We don't need to think when your child is 3 or 5 or 7 or 8. In any case, in the next 6, 7 years, things may change very much in the education area, or even the certification area. Who knows? New education policy, this, that, things keep evolving.
Do Aarohi has information pertaining to this? My daughter, she's in 8th class, and does Aarohi have information pertaining to any certifications what we can get from any of the universities abroad or wherever it can be done while pursuing the open learning?
Yeah, we, to whatever extent we know, we can guide you. When you say, does Aarohi have, so Aarohi is a community of 40, 50 parents, so 40, 50 families, so that's about 70, 80 parents. I'm sure there is a lot of information there. And you can connect with them. You can connect with the internet, has even more information about them. The point that I would like you to think about is that how important is this for you? And then based on what specifically the child is looking, the child should be guided. Not in general that I'm getting degrees, but let's say the child says, I'm interested in graphic designing. Then one will need to look into what are the options in graphic designing. Or the child says, I'm interested in journalism. Then we have to see what are the options available in journalism. So it will be more specific to what the child is interested in, rather than as a generic sense we say, is the information available? So yes, the information is available, but we can interact with the child, interact with the whole family, and see how we can guide you. So yes, we can definitely guide you to whatever extent we can guide you. Right. Ashima is asking, does NIF has the same level of reputation? Ashima, again, the point is not whether it has the same reputation. Again, somewhere we are sold to this market which says, or let's say IITs have more reputation, so everybody should get into IITs. I think we have created a system which only creates pressure. And then now we are kind of jumping onto the same pressure thing. So if you are saying, does it have the same reputation? I say, I don't know. It depends on whom you are talking, right? And how are you approaching, and why are you wanting a certificate? And why do you look at that having the same weight by different colleges or employers? Now, if you want to jump into the same funnel, which keeps saying, no, you should go to IITs or IIM or the MITs and all that, and those have the best reputation and those will be best taken by employers, well, then you have a case of rat race. Then jump into that. That's fair enough. There's nothing wrong or right about it. Another way to look at it is, let's see what is really required by my child or by me, if I'm the child, and then see what I need to do to be able to reach where I want to reach. I think often we get caught up with this boards and the colleges, rather than stepping back and thinking, what do I really want and how do I achieve that? What are the 10 different ways of achieving? And not kind of jump onto a highway just because we think this highway is the best way to do it, just because it is more well known, like I was giving the example of the IITs. So that is the way I look at it. So meaning, I'm not saying that NOIS does not have reputation or has a reputation, because then there are so many ifs and buts, and we'll keep on kind of getting into that. Because somebody can say, how does it matter? Anyway, you can give a competitive exam, or how does it matter? You can go abroad and do this and so on. So there can be so many ifs and buts depending on a particular child's journey.
NOS is a good system, nothing wrong about it, but people have corrupted that too. Like there are facilitators in between who will ensure that you get the marks and all that, and you get passed. So it's only for certification that people are doing it. So like,
Yes, but everything then is for certification. If you really think
absolutely,
about it,
yeah.
why do we even get into that race if you want to?
Open schooling is definitely the most ideal system. We all believe in it, but like it's slightly a quantum jump, and from a traditional point of view, uh, uh, that's what like everybody is afraid, like where we will end up. That's the only problem. Like I think everybody is looking into. So we are
Okay,
trying to find a
yeah,
viable.
yeah, Kishore. So you look at it as a problem. I look at it as an adventure, as a beauty of life. I would say, why get on to something which is so straight and so rigid that you will all end up being the same kind? So it's a matter of choice. Yes, it's a matter of choice. And please remember, open learning by itself does not say that you cannot get a degree or you cannot get a certificate. We are not trying to say that please don't get a degree. We are only saying is choose a degree which you really want, or choose a path that you really want. Remember, everything is a choice. Open learning even shows 10th and 12th and certificate and college as choices, not as either or. Just because you are open learner does not mean you cannot get a certificate, you cannot become an MBBS doctor. Not at all. You can become an MBBS after giving NIOS also. Right. So it's not about NIOS, it's not about anything else. What we are inviting you to think is, and maybe not even now, depending on what age is your child, is to think is, what do I want in life? Let's start there rather than do I want to, how much I got in 10th and how do I do
So
12th and how do I get
Ratnesh,
into a good college, so to say. We're too stuck with that path. So it's not that that path is anything wrong or right, but I think we should choose the path based on what we really want rather than just jump on it just because everybody seems to be jumping on it.
I think Ratnesh and Luigi here, just
Yeah,
a quick add on to that.
yeah.
Um, the I, I kind of going back to what I was mentioning earlier, that it is about what we are ready to shoulder, what we are ready to do,
Mm-hmm.
more than what would the world want us to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was saying it a little differently earlier, but in this context, I see it as okay. How much responsibility am I ready to shoulder? How much responsibility am I ready to uh, pass on or delegate?
Yeah.
Right? And like Ratnesh said, I don't think one is, there's a one single truth that this is the way to do it and everything else is the wrong way to do it. And that is the beauty of open learning, that you decide what is correct for you, and your child will decide what's correct for himself or herself.
And it's co-creation all the way.
And it is co-creation all the way, not just between you and your child. Your
Yeah.
child might decide that the grocer nearby does better math than my father, so I want to go learn math with that fellow. And if your child is 5 years old, believe me, that grocer will be more than happy to talk to your child and teach him or her math.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is that it's about how do we see our own life and what we want to do in the next, few weeks, few months, few years, and find what will build my confidence to let me do that, to encourage me to do that, to strengthen me to do that. So these questions are very important, and it's good that we are discussing these things.
Yeah, and I just once again want to reinforce the co-creation part, that this whole talk that we are having is something we should co-create with the child. We should go out and find out. Don't take my word for it that the world is rigid or world is not rigid. Let's go find out with the child, talk to people, explore, see what all different people are doing, and the journey can be so much more beautiful when we together find out, rather than just going with our beliefs or our notions. Yeah, and also same thing with exams, or same thing even with somebody was talking about what about social skills, right? I would say, well, that depends on the child. If the child wants to have more social skills, the child will figure out where to go, how to play with people, how to find friends of, let's say, same age, older age, younger age. There is no limit to social people around us. We don't need to go to a school to have friends. We can have friends anywhere and everywhere, depending on who wants to have friends and how many friends we want to have and how many people we want to work with. Again, if we co-create even a social life, or co-create how we want to live, with how many people we want to live, and so on, then we can easily find answers to our questions. Yeah, I'm not trying to answer this question directly. Somebody had asked that, what about social skills, and school seems to have this perception, which obviously I'm liking that you put it, that it's a perception, because it's not the reality. So many people in schools are loners, and they struggle to make good friends. And some of us make friends, and some of us are very popular as social beings. Yeah, sorry, let me pause here. Any questions, your thoughts? Right, we've covered a lot of questions, and I've put some extra questions on this slide, so you can bring up any discussion that you want to have right now.
Um, if there aren't any, I just want to expand on this social skills part. Mm, because beyond perception also, if we just think about the scenario, on the one hand, we have a structured environment where you are quote unquote expected to interact with a certain set of people and expected to not interact with a certain set of people. And in the other hand, we have a scenario where an individual has to find his or her way around and identify which individual can, further their learning, there as in my own learning. If I'm the student or if I'm the learner, then I have to find the resource people. I have to go convince them that, boss, I'm interested in this. I want to learn this.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not limited to selecting only my physics students or classmates, or my my science classmates and my lab batchmates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have to go and convince. So in terms of social skills, what you will typically find is that open learners are way more easy to interact with. They talk and communicate a lot better, because if they can't communicate, they are not going to be, quote unquote, living. So, so this common perception is fairly flawed. What will happen is that you will find a lot of open learners who are very confident, and that turns off a lot of people saying that, oh, these people don't have social skills. Right? Submissiveness is equated to social skills in a lot of traditional circles. And open learners are not typically, again, I don't want to generalize, but are typically not submissive. They have their own opinion, they have their own attitude to an extent, and they have a character and a flair. Again, in generalizing, not as a mandatory thing, but typically. So, in some sense, open learners need to have social skills. They exercise their social skills a lot more than a institutional learner, or a learner in an educational conventional institution, from whatever I have seen. That is my
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah, just as a simple example, if I have a fight with a classmate, I can always go to the teacher and say, this guy is troubling me. But in an open learning, I have to figure out now how to deal with this guy if some guy is troubling me. So it's that much more interesting and that much more. I would go to the extent as say that much more empowering as a social skills or a life skill. In fact, not just social skills, any kind of life skills is out there. I have to meet the life every day in an open learning because I am designing my life. I'm creating my life every day. Right. Thank you, Dwiji, for that important aspect of it. So I think we are almost at 6:43. So we're almost going to clock 2 hours. So I think we can kind of wind up now with a couple of promises. One is that anytime you need more thinking, more information about open learning, or you want to just clear off some of your doubts, please feel free to connect with us. And if you would like to be part of the community, you are most welcome. You can just visit our website or you can connect with us again. And we can help you out with that. I kind of want to wind up with a little quotation that says
Hey,
that.
wait.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The recordings of the earlier webinars.
Yeah. We'll come. Okay. Go ahead, Vijay. You had.
No, go ahead. You do it. I thought quotation will be the end, so that's why I wanted to put it.
Okay. So Dwiji is reminding that we do this webinar every Saturday, and typically there are a lot of other open learners who are part of this webinar, and they are like guests, and they share their journeys. And almost about 42 of these webinars are there in a playlist on our website and on YouTube channel. So you can listen to more people, how they have kind of, done their journey. Each journey is unique, and that is the beauty of open learning. No two journeys are same. No two children are same. No two families are same. So no two journeys are same. And that's so much more beautiful. And there is so much to learn from each journey. So that's the invitation. Please connect with others. And if, as I said, if you want to be part of our community, you can connect with me directly. Yeah. So we then another quotation, you've already read it. The idea is not that this journey of open learning is any easy or difficult. I think that's not the scale to measure, but it's great fun. It's great joy because you are all the time, the child and the family is pursuing, exploring, doing what you really enjoy doing. And that gives a lot of deep joy, I would say. So it's not that I'm waiting for some age. When I become 26, I'll start enjoying my life. That's not really required. We can enjoy right from day now, based on each one's interest, each one's strengths, each one's talent, and so on. And the best thing is that we can connect with so many other open learners. And as I said, the whole city is an open learner, which means I can connect with anybody for anything. And that that really opens up the whole world. So open learning is not just about the learning being open, but the whole world being open to me and my child. I'm almost looking like I'm marketing open learning, which I don't think I need to. Yeah, but it's challenging and it's a roller coaster, which is how our life should be, because that's the spice of life. So I don't want to make it sound that it's amazing. I'm saying it's amazing because it's challenging. Yeah. So yeah, anybody would like to still ask some questions, I can still hang around. Otherwise, we can kind of wind up. It's been a long session. And yeah, we can connect again if you need to talk to us or be part of the community. But if you still have a question, I'm there. We are not hurrying to log out. Yeah, good day, Bala. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for all the lovely conversations. Yeah, I think most people would like to now head out. Yeah. So yeah, let me also say thank you and bye-bye to everybody with the assurance that we are all there for each other. Yep. Okay, so thank you very much.